Chapter 401 Untended Willow Reverie. Editor. Han's gaze sharpened. The art that youngster had just displayed was none other than the mysterious 3000. However, that youngster had already stepped into the flower blossom tier. With a mere casual strike, his might was paramount, instantly reaping 2 lives at the 9th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Thus, judging from that single blow alone, it was impossible to tell how deep his attainment in the mysterious 3000 truly was. Yet it perfectly revealed a sword practitioner's supremacy upon the sword path. The mysterious 3000 was propelled by sword chi. The more sword chi one cultivated, the more strands of sword radiance one could send forth, and the fiercer its power became. Up in the skies, the youngster spoke with icy indifference. Now then, will someone answer my question? I'll speak. Fairy Zhu should have gone toward the depths of the forest. First, to seek the crimson-red chilling ice grass, and second, she may contend for the heavenly luckstone. Someone hurriedly blurted out, voice trembling. The youngster's lips curved into a smile. The heavenly luckstone? Xuan is only at the spiritual pedestal tier. Refining a heavenly luckstone would be of tremendous benefit to her when she breaks through to the flower blossom tier in the future. He paused, then continued. Jiming, if I obtain the heavenly luckstone and gift it to Xuan would she be very happy? Jiming's eyes flashed with envy. The heavenly luckstone, for martial artists beneath the flower blossom tier, it was the most precious treasure. He was already at the 9th layer of the spiritual pedestal tier. If he could make use of a heavenly luckstone, Yet he instantly suppressed that envy and replied respectfully, Fairy Zhu would definitely be extremely happy. Ha ha! The youngster threw back his head and laughed. Good! Then I'll make an exception and play with the people here. With those words, he turned to depart, each step drawing out a sword pattern, like a resplendent flower blooming in midair. Tong Jiming sneered at the crowd all around and hurried after him. Though he could not fly, a spiritual pedestal tier elite's speed was not slow. He skimmed across the treetops, then chasing behind that youngster. Only then did everyone finally exhale in relief. Many even collapsed onto the ground, drenched through with cold sweat. Yet, not everyone had been shaken to the point of losing their will to fight. Shen Zhongcheng stared at the place where that youngster vanished, his right hand gripping his sword hilt tightly, battle intent unextinguished. Ling Han was no different. The fighting spirit within him also blazed. That youngster was comparable to Sword Emperor of those years. Unfortunately, in his previous life, he had devoted himself to alchemy, only pursuing tier advancement in martial arts, never contending with the 6 heaven tier monarchs. But in this lifetime, his regrets could be repaid, and that youngster's talent and comprehension upon the sword path were astonishing, like a second Sword Emperor. To vie for supremacy with such a peerless genius, Ling Han's blood surged with fighting spirit. I know who that person is, someone suddenly cried out. I once heard that an elite from the Heaven's Sword sect came to the North region for leisure, and fell in love with Fairy Zhu at first sight. He even intended to invite her into the Heaven's Sword sect. That man is him. The world's second best sword, Yao Hui Yue. The moment those words fell, astonished cries burst out one after another. Who was this person, daring to proclaim himself the world's second best sword? Did he not fear being forced to eat his own words? Yao Hui was certainly terrifying. Reaching the flower blossom tier at this age was absolutely unreachable for most. But to claim the world's second? That was truly brazen. There were countless sword cultivators under heaven. Could the sword users of the spiritual infant tier and the deity transformation tier truly be inferior to him? It said Yao Hui Yue once intended to cultivate the world's first sword, but to show respect to the older seniors of the Heaven's Sword sect, he retreated a step and claimed second instead. Hiss, world's second, and that's called modest? Still, already a flower blossom tier elite while only in his 20s. This world's second, within his age segment, should be completely deserved. My God, are our martial arts standards really so different from Middle States? Everyone says Middle State is the holy land of martial arts. They're not wrong at all. One exclamation followed another. They had been foolishly self-satisfied before. Only after witnessing a true expert, A true genius. Did they realize the world was far vaster than they had imagined? However, with two ninth-layer spiritual pedestal tier elites annihilated, this stronghold was no longer safe. It could be crushed in an instant by the assault of a spiritual pedestal tier beast. Thus, everyone scattered, each going their own way, some to harvest medicinal herbs and capture beasts, others to seek different strongholds. Ling Han too headed toward the forest's core region. He sighed, thinking his cultivation progress was already swift enough, yet when compared to Yao Hui, his speed might not be slow, but it certainly could not be called much faster. After all, a millennia-old sect like the Heaven Sword sect, could the abundance of their cultivation resources be compared to those of ordinary factions? If they concentrated on nurturing a handful of genius disciples, then naturally Yao Hui and other prodigies' cultivation progress would not be slower than Ling Han's. Yet once one crossed into the flower blossom tier, the spirit medicines above the 6th tier became pitifully scarce. So scarce that even a great sect like the Heaven Sword sect would feel poor, unable to accelerate the fostering of their sect's pupils at all. Ling Han had no need to feel inferior. How long had it even been since he began cultivating? 1 year and a tiny bit, soaring from the 2nd layer of the body refining tier to the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Could Yao Hui compare to such advancement speed back then? After all, Ling Han never needed to worry about tier comprehension. However, now that Yao Hui, Ao Feng, and the others have appeared, the difficulty of obtaining the crimson-red chilling ice grass and the heavenly luckstone has increased quite a bit. Ling Han stroked his chin. These two items were things he was determined to obtain, yet from the looks of it now, the road was beset with obstacles. Ling Han, Hu Nu suddenly dashed toward a certain spot. Ling Han followed, only to see Hu Nu halt beside a plant. This plant was a pure blazing red, as though it were a flame. What? Fiery sungrass! Ling Han was shocked. This truly was an untended willow. He had entered the dark demon forest this time for something other than the fiery sungrass. Yet he stumbled upon it along the way. What kind of fortune was this? No, this was not merely his luck. Rather, Hu Nu seemed to possess an ability to locate medicinal ingredients. This was excellent. His odds of obtaining the crimson-red chilling ice grass had risen a little. As long as he got it first and immediately hid inside the Black Tower, then no matter which sword you were in the world, nothing would work. Since he had encountered it, he naturally would not leave it behind. Ling Han dug up the fiery sungrass roots and all, intending to transplant it into the Black Tower. Such spirit medicines needed 100 years to bloom and form seeds, yet within the Black Tower, the entire process took only 1 month. Thus, harvesting 1 fiery sungrass meant that in just a few months, this spirit medicine would grow like white cabbage. If I truly return to the Winter Moon sect, I can report on fulfilling my duty. Ling Han smiled, but then immediately straightened, an intense sense of danger stabbing into him, as expected of the one who destroyed the stronghold at Seagus City. An old man's voice came from behind, like metal grinding against metal, so harsh it made one's ears ache, as if they wanted to cover them. Ling Han slowly turned around, only to see a gaunt old man standing behind him in complete silence, holding a red crutch, hunched over, looking aged and unsteady. Elder Nine Clouds, right? He smiled. Do you flower blossom tier cultivators all have the habit of being like ghosts, appearing behind people without a sound? Aren't you worried about frightening them? Chapter 402, Elder Nine Clouds. Editor Kurisu. Youngster, you've got some real nerve. The old man was precisely Elder Nine Clouds. He had been pursuing Ling Han's whereabouts and ran to the extreme Yang City not long ago. However, he then found out that Ling Han went to the Dark Demon Forest, so he chased him over here. Thankfully, he finally found Ling Han. Huh, your face. Elder Nine Clouds stared at Ling Han and very soon revealed an angered look. So the one who destroyed our sect's great plan at the Fallen Moon Gorge was also you. Ling Han clapped and said, Correct, but no rewards. Jeezer, what methods did you guys use to find me? You entered the large tomb and was tainted by dead spirit's chi, which won't disappear in half a year. Those who cultivate corpse chi can easily find you out. Elder Nine Clouds unexpectedly didn't keep Ling Han on tenterhooks and just revealed it. As he saw it, Ling Han was already a corpse soldier, so he naturally wouldn't mind speaking a bit more. The flower blossom tier against the spiritual ocean tier. The only possible result was absolute subjugation. So that's how it was, Ling Han suddenly realized. No wonder Duan Zhengji could always catch up, and now he was targeted by an old monster. Hand over that spatial spirit tool that can accommodate living things. This old man can be gentler, letting you die more wholly. Elder Nine Clouds said indifferently. Thoughts flashed across Ling Han's mind. How did this old man know that he had a spatial spirit tool that could accommodate living things? He only used it in front of Duan Zhengji, and Duan Zhengji already died. Could it be? How cruel, refining even your own men into corpse soldiers, he immediately said. Gagaga, contributing somewhat for the sect even after death? Isn't that how it ought to be? Elder Nine Clouds smiled. Don't play any tricks in front of this old man. This old man has already lived for almost 200 years. No small tricks can escape this old man's eyes. Ling Han first put Hunyu into the Black Tower, taking care of any other worries. As expected. Despite Elder Nine Clouds having seen this in Duan Zhengji's memories, it was still extremely shocking. Such a treasure was truly too rare. If this spatial spirit tool's capacity was large enough, then this was supreme treasure first, the Hausen Corpse sect, even surpassing 10th tier spirit tools in worth. Don't get all excited. It's got nothing to do with you, Ling Han sneered. Youngster, you can't run. Once you move, this old man will immediately stop you. With this old man's flower blossom tier's strength, it's as easy as the turn of a palm, so don't struggle in vain and quickly hand over the spirit tool. Elder Nine Clouds snorted. Hand over your old mom. Ling Han cursed, unleashing the demon birth sword and striking out right away. Shu, sword chi assailed the old man like a dragon. Huh. Elder Nine Clouds' eyes immediately lit up. What tier is this spirit tool that even this old man feels a shred of fear? This is dog beheading sword, Ling Han said smilingly. Insolent boy, how dare you joke with this old man? Elder Nine Clouds was infuriated, no longer having any patience and reaching out with his palm to swat towards Ling Han. Don't you want the spirit tool? Come get it. Ling Han laughed loudly, entering the Black Tower. Hong, Elder Nine Clouds' palm instantly hit nothing. How's it possible? Elder Nine Clouds stared wide-eyed. To enter a spatial spirit tool, it definitely wasn't instantaneous. With his flower blossom tier strength, he should completely be able to grab Ling Han in that instant. This was just like storing an item in a spatial ring. With flower blossom tier strength, seizing the stored item was completely possible. Elder Nine Clouds naturally had experience, which was why he was so confident. However, reality slapped him heavily in the face. Looks like the rarity of this spirit tool is above this old man's anticipations. If I can obtain it for the sect, it'll definitely be substantially beneficial. But as to how to get this treasure also becomes difficult. However, spirit tools can't fly away without a trace. And if this old man refines all of the nearby areas, I won't believe that the treasure wouldn't be refined to appear. The old man immediately got into action, digging 3 feet deep and then refining everything with supreme mystical power. Martial intent ascended, easily annihilating soil and turning it into fine granules imperceptible to the eye. However, he was disappointed. After he refined all the nearby soil into fine ash, he still was unable to find anything suspicious. Inside the Black Tower, Small Tower shook lightly in disdain and said, "A mere flower blossom tier warrior wants to find a mustard seed micron. Such foolish, exaggerated hopes." Ling Han was curious and asked, "Then how strong does an elite have to be to find it?" "At least in this realm, no one can do it," Small Tower said very assuredly. Ling Han nodded, remembering what Small Tower once said. If the Black Tower fully unleashed its power, it could destroy the entire vast land here. How could trash like Shattering Void tier warriors possibly find such a grand kick-ass treasure? With nothing to do, he took out the black stone and tempered his soul spirit. Disordered thoughts of chaos arose as Ling Han stably guarded his mind, fending against it and improving the power of his divine sense. When Ling Han's spirit power was exhausted, he felt a clear improvement in the durability of his divine sense. Although it was now terribly fatigued, it was filled with tenacity and was even more solidified. Sensing once again outside, There was already no trace of Elder Nine Clouds. He was probably hiding somewhere, waiting for him to appear on his own. Ling Han smiled and had a sumptuous meal with Hu Nu before leaving the Black Tower. Looking at the place, it was already 5,000 meters away from where they were. Black Tower turns into dust, moving with the wind, so it's naturally far away from the original place, Small Tower said. Ling Han nodded. Originally, the Black Tower wouldn't float randomly, but Elder Nine Clouds dug 3 feet deep. As the dust flew upward, Black Tower naturally danced along with the wind, leaving far from the original place. Presumably, Elder Nine Clouds should still be guarding the original place, staring with concentrated attention. Ha! Good luck to thee, Ling Han said inwardly and walked off swaggeringly. After another day, he arrived at the second ring of the forest. This was the last place where strongholds were. Further ahead was the core area of the forest, where terrifying demonic chi bred and influenced the living things inside the forest to crazily thirst for blood. When martial artists stayed there for long, their temperament would change drastically, turning them into monsters that knew only of slaughter. Ling Han didn't rest here and advanced directly, entering the last area. He was very careful. From here on out, flower blossom tier beasts would appear. That was no joke. Without advancing for long, he encountered the assault of 3 beasts. One was at the spiritual pedestal tier, and the other 2 were at the spiritual ocean tier. They were not at all afraid, launching their attacks at Ling Han and Hu Nu. Ling Han took a while to annihilate the spiritual pedestal tier beast. He captured a spiritual ocean tier beast alive, then brought it into the Black Tower after knocking it out and studied it quite a bit. The result greatly surprised him. He didn't find anything like the demonic chi. These beasts should have been imperceptibly influenced by the chaos intent of the Black Stone, becoming more bloodthirsty instinctively. In other words, the living creatures here were completely crazy.